another episode of Cars on the Macabre.
Hey.
Hey Ali, how are you?
I'm really good, although I think I've got a bit of peanut from the peanut butter stuck in my tooth.
Did you just literally have a spoon of it? Did you have it on anything?
No.
It was just a spoon
It was
of peanut
just a
butter.
spoonful of peanut butter. I do that with Biscoff as well. I'm obsessed.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I bought a tub of it, so...
That is a big tub of peanut butter. I'm like the food of the gods.
Yeah, it's the proper stuff. So what's been happening? Anything interesting? Anything spooky?
Spooky no. Spooky no. But at the time of recording, which is the 11th of February, I am waiting for a start date for a new job.
Yay!
I know, I'm so excited. So I'm leaving library services and I'm going back to mortuary and bereavement services because that is where my heart is at.
You
And
are very good at that.
I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. Yeah, and you know, I work with some really amazing people, and through the library, I've realised what supportive management means.
That's good.
So I've really taken away some positive stuff. But yeah, my heart is with mortuary and bereavement services. So I'm really excited to be going back, but I'm very grateful for the time that I've had at the library.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
That's awesome news.
And a few days ago, I got my most recent assignment results back from uni, and I got 93%.
Yeah, you did.
And I was so ready to give up.
Oh, God.
So ready to give up.
But good job you didn't, really, isn't it?
Yes, I've got some very good people that I turn to in times of trouble.
There we go. Well, 93% is amazing.
Thank you.
Well done, you.
What about you?
Well, this year's been really good already, actually. Last year was a bit awful.
Touch wood. Touch wood.
Work-wise. And this year's been like super busy, so it's great. And then by the time this comes out, I will have moved house. So I will be living in Cambridgeshire near you, which I'm really excited about because at the moment we're 2-ish hours away from each other, aren't we?
It's
2 hours
about 2 and a
drive.
quarter.
Yeah, on a non-traffic day, obviously. And hopefully, all things being well, I'll be about 12 minutes from you.
Yes, I think we worked it out as 12 minutes, and that's if you're driving conservatively.
Yeah, which I won't be. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be a new chapter, an exciting new chapter.
It feels like the way that we've grown up together, like you living with us so many times and stuff over the years, this was always going to happen again.
Oh, yeah. I was going to boomerang back.
Oh, absolutely. Because, homing pigeon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're twin flames. We've got to be nearer each other.
Absolutely.
Otherwise...
I'm going to be super happy.
Oh, me
Goober's
too.
going to be ecstatic.
He is so excited that I'm going to basically be a neighbour.
On his doorstep.
Literally, he's trying to figure out ways to just run away right now. Oh, no.
No, he loves it. He loves it.
I'm really, really excited. So, yeah, that'll be me and the doggos moving. I'm a single woman again now, which is a bit crazy, but there we go.
Yeah, it's mental, really. Like, I've seen, like, you with every bloody relationship and stuff, and it's... Yeah.
It's now single Helen time with the doggos, so there we go. Yeah.
This is, I've realised it's the year of Helen with how well things have been going for you. Again, touch wood. Just in these 2 months alone, compared to like last year and stuff, this is your year.
Oh, thank you. Well, you too. And same with Goobs. Like he like he said, like the next couple of years is going to be good, he reckons. Yeah. And I believe him.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
I can't
really
deal with it anymore.
Need to be good. Absolutely. So, well, that's good. So we're starting off on a very positive note to then be taken into quite a dark story.
Started with something light and fluffy.
Exactly. Well, I tell you what, I will ease us into the subject matter a little bit, and I will tell everyone to make sure that they watch the new series of Celebrity Help My House is Haunted. So there's the non-celebrity version, which is excellent. It's on Discovery Plus. And then there's the celebrity version. And as with any episode, some are better than others, but there's one particularly really spooky one. It's the second episode they've done, and it's just absolutely brilliant. It's really good. So I highly recommend watching that if you're of a spooky disposition, which we are, and you probably are if you are listening to us.
Speaking of which, do you like my jumper?
I do. It's Scream themed.
Obviously.
Woodsboro.
Horror Film Club.
I
need to be close to the mic.
That is very cool.
And it says underneath, what's your favourite scary movie?
That's really awesome.
Yeah. And I found some like air valve caps that have got Ghostface on them.
You have to get those.
So I'm going to get them. And then look for other Scream themed interior stuff for my car.
I love that, because I've never seen anyone do that before. So
A little horror themed car.
that would be awesome.
Oh my God.
You
I'm
will
so excited.
have a truly macabre car.
Yeah, like for real. Oh, Hercules.
Amazing. So I also have been thinking, this isn't a spooky thing, but kind of is. Randomly, Ghostbusters is now available on Netflix. So as soon as
the original?
Yeah, the original one. So as soon as it came on, I was like, okay, I've got to watch this. And I think that might be where my fear of inflatables has come from.
Oh, Stay Puffed Man.
Yes, because I have this weird fear of inflatables, but as far as I know, I've never been engulfed with an inflatable object.
I'm melting.
A hot air balloon, a bouncy castle. So I just cannot figure out where it's coming from. And then I watched that and I was like, oh my God. Because Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man, he's massive, he's huge, and he looks inflatable.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, he scared the living bejesus out of me because I just think his face is really creepy when he does his grimace. And I'm wondering if that's where it's come from. It's a bit of a weird connection, but there is a slight connection there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a possibility.
So,
It's better than my fear of Beavis and Butthead.
What?
Yeah, I'm petrified of Beavis and Butthead.
I
They're just really disgusting.
have never, ever known this.
Have you not?
No.
Yeah, no. They really creep me out. I
love
can't
Beavis
cope
and
with
Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead. They're
Really?
just gross and disgusting. I'm like, ugh.
So you never went and saw the film when it came out or anything? Oh my God. Me and Jess love it.
Oh no, I mean, I get the the lore of them, if you will, and stuff, But yeah, there's just something about them that no.
Oh, makes you dry heave.
Freak me out massively.
Oh God. I like that with lolly sticks, wooden lolly sticks.
Do you want me to say that now, or is that your random fact? That can be your random fact.
Okay, we're just talking about fear of goobers, but he has. We'll say that later when we do our random facts at the end. So we've kind of slightly sort of gone into what we're going to talk about a little bit, not really. But so this episode, I have named Wheels of Anarchy: The Strange and Shocking Story of Johnny Lewis. So it's not strictly connected with cars, but it's very connected with motorcycles.
Okay, well,
So
yeah.
I figured that works. And it really is a very, very bizarre and disturbing story. And I never heard of this case before until I started watching a series, and it's on Discovery Plus again, called Death by Fame. And I haven't got through the whole series yet, but it's a really interesting one if you're a fan of true crime, and also if you have an interest for Hollywood, because it obviously connects the two. So I watched the particular episode on him and did further research, and it's bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers. So this strange crime, as I said, it happens in Hollywood, and Hollywood as a place, it is a tough town because pretty much everyone living there wants to be in the movies. Everyone does. They might be a waiter or a waitress / actress / model. It's like, everyone in that town wants to be somebody.
Everyone's chasing celebrity.
Exactly.
Basically, yeah.
Other's, there's...
Why would you be there?
Yeah, exactly. It's Tinseltown, isn't it? And it's been like that literally since the dawn of cinema. It's always been that way. But not everyone is going to make it. And those who do then have to deal with the reality of fame and everything that comes with that, because it's not a natural state of living.
How would you cope with... I mean, obviously, having been on TV and, your name is getting bigger in art and things like that, how have you experienced anything weird that comes with the fame and things like that?
Yeah, so when we did series 1 of Goblin Works Garage, we lowered a series 2A Land Rover and we got death threats. I've had all kinds of hideous comments. I had to come off Facebook, so I used to help Jimmy with our Facebook page, and help him go through and it got to the point where I was like, Jimmy, I cannot do this and stay sane, because the comments are just so vile and hurtful. And you can't not read them because we were trying to get rid of the offensive ones that were then offensive to other people. So you had it in your face all the time. And that is only on the scale of us on Goblin.
It's just ridiculous.
So I can't imagine it on the scale of somebody like Johnny Lewis when they're like A-list stars. It's bonkers.
What about anything like weird because people are like, they're such big fans? Like, you know, I don't know, people send knickers in the post. I don't know.
Well, thank God, no. And I will do everything I can for people to not know where I live because I don't want knickers in the post. I don't want anything in the post unless it's money. You can send me money if you want.
You can send me money.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't want knickers in the post. I did have once, so sorry, I'll get slightly going off piece, but not really because it is sort of talking about the weirdness of fame-ish. I was in a car park at Tesco's Bar Hill because the first series we filmed in Cambridge.
Yes.
But then this can't have been connected to fame because the series wasn't out. It was just a weird occurrence. I was in the car park getting lunch for the boys, I think. And this guy came up to me with a carrier bag and it had a note in it with a cuddly like dragon. And he gave it to me and he was like, "Oh, I've been watching you from across the car park." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what now?" I was by myself.
You can go away now, Ted Bundy.
Yeah, and he gave me this carry bag with this teddy in it and a note that said something about, "Oh, you know, there might be lots of fish in the sea, but I want to swim with you," or something equally disgusting.
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh my God, this is awful."
Wow.
So we were obviously filming at Uncle Paul's place.
Yeah.
So Uncle Paul is an incredible person and I call him Uncle Paul because if I could make him part of my family, I would because I love him so much. So we're at Uncle Paul's place and he's got all the toys. He's a stuntman. Mm-hmm. She has all the toys. And so what we did was we actually made a video of him getting out a shotgun and shooting the head off the fluffy thing. And then we put it on Facebook and just said, "The boys don't like it when you crack onto one of the goblins." And it was just like a little bit of a back off. So it's quite funny. I don't recommend anyone shoots shotgun at anything, you know, yada, yada, yada. But it was, so that was weird. But then it was just weird. It wasn't actually fame related.
But, oh no, that's creepy enough.
That's really creepy. It's like, what universe would that work? Oh, okay, let's get married.
Oh, this has like worked for me every time. I doubt it has ever.
It's not even a gift bag, a carrier bag. Thanks. So that was weird. So you know, I cannot comprehend what it would be like because it's so bananas just on the small level we were on.
I would hate it.
It's odd, really, really odd. And I mean, we were very lucky because there's three of us, so we were all of the promo and stuff like that, we were together, so we had each other to be like, "This is weird," you know, and actually talk about it. But you know, factors are kind of, you know, they got on their own sort of thing. It's different story. So the scene of the crime was a place called the Writers' Villa, which was a super fancy bed and breakfast for celebrities. And it was situated in Los Feliz in LA. And people like Val Kilmer and Parker Posey are amongst the actors who have stayed there. And it was almost like a meeting place for creatives. Ooh. And there were big parties there. People bounced ideas off each other. And it was almost like a Hollywood artists' commune.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I mean,
cool
it being a creative space, not necessarily like if we had normal Joe Public, like a creative space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like cool place, you know. Yeah. So we've got Hollywood, we've got our scene of our crime at the villa, Writers' Villa, and the perpetrator in this story was an actor named Johnny Lewis, who was best known for his role as Kip Half-Sack Epps in the TV series Sons of Anarchy, which randomly you mentioned yesterday, which is really bananas.
Oh, that's where I remember the name from.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know about, like, I haven't watched Sons of Anarchy.
It's amazing.
So I don't know him.
Oh, it is so good. And to be fair, I did really like his character. He's called Half-Sack because he's got one bollock.
Exactly.
And I finally started to get Goober to watch it as well, and he's enjoying it. I remember like at in the end of one of the episodes, he's like, "Oh, no." So that's when you know he's enjoying it.
Spoiler alert. If you okay, well, you're going to have it spoiled, mate. I'm sorry, because you're here as part of the podcast. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the first series, this will...
He's watched the first series.
Okay, so that's a spoiler alert for the first
yeah.
series, just to let you know. And a general trigger warning for this story, of course, which we put at the beginning of the show anyway. So, Johnny, he started his career really promisingly with a national advert for Pizza Hut. Which
really promising.
I mean, I'd be quite happy with that, especially if
pay
I've
me
got
in
free pizza. Yeah. And that led on to high-profile noughties teen dramas like The OC, which we used to love.
The OC?
Yeah. And Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh.
And then he progressed on to movies. His parents were practicing Scientology. Oh my goodness me. Put my teeth back in.
To be fair, we've lasted nearly 16 minutes without screwing up our words, so we're doing well.
That's pretty good.
That's improvement right there.
What I meant to say was Scientologists. And Johnny himself was reported to also be a Scientologist, although he actually left the practice in his early 20s. Mm-hmm. So it's not really got a lot of thing on the story, but I just, I like...
A little
not that
interesting
saying
fact.
Scientology is a cult, but I like reading about that sort of thing. So to me, that was quite interesting. And for those who don't know, Scientology is a religious system based on the seeking of self-knowledge and spiritual fulfillment through graded courses of study and training. And it was founded by American science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard in 1955. So there we go.
John Travolta is a Scientologist, or was.
Lots of people in Hollywood.
And obviously Tom Cruise. I'm not a fan of Tom Cruise as it is, but yeah.
Oh, I do actually like Tom Cruise.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, see, I like John Travolta.
Yeah. There are lots of people involved in Scientology. So, this our perpetrator was as well. So when it comes to his character, people spoke really highly of Johnny. Lynn Champagne, who was a member of the crew on Sons of Anarchy, described him as the most calm, loving, decent human being that she thinks she's ever met in the business.
And I'm going to guess that's going to be turned on its head.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He was known as part of the young Hollywood crowd. He used to date Katy Perry, and he was also described as happy and serene. So by all accounts, he was a good guy. He certainly didn't have any telltale signs of being a troubled man. He was loved and respected on a personal level as well as professionally.
Okay.
He wasn't like a known troublemaker.
There's nothing to give off any concern.
No, and the amount of research we've done on true crime, there's no telltale signs of being a serial killer.
He used to torture insects and then more and
pets and things like that. Yeah, exactly. So
it's always the quiet ones. Well, actually, no, that's not true. But
sometimes it's the quiet ones.
Sometimes
that's a good T-shirt logo.
Sometimes it's the quiet ones.
Question mark? So supposedly he was actually quite different to the rest of the cast of Sons of Anarchy in the sense that they really embraced the whole biker spirit of their roles.
Kind of virginal method acting,
exactly.
Maybe. Let's go Stanislavski on this shit.
Exactly. And they used to all hang out together, whereas Johnny would spend a lot of time by himself reading. So he sort of, didn't really socialise with them. Yeah. And he definitely wasn't anything like his character. Some colleagues and friends say he didn't do drugs or drink, but online articles I found suggested that he at some point was an addict, citing bath salts as a possible substance he misused.
Okay.
And bath salts is a street name for a synthetic drug, and it actually doesn't show up in drug tests, which will keep that in mind for later on. So it is a little bit unclear.
# don't do drugs, kids.
Exactly. Just don't do that. And then, but yeah, so some say they, we never saw him do it. And some say he had a problem. So that's two very conflicting opinions or
that's a definite no and a definite yes. There's no, possible.
Exactly. So allegedly he did, but then allegedly he didn't. But despite the critically acclaimed success of Sons of Anarchy, Johnny was reportedly not happy. And crew members actually recall Johnny having a real dislike for the violence in the show. And he actually asked to be written off the show in Series 2. Sorry, so that's actually a spoiler alert for Series 2, not Series 1.
Yeah, Mark hasn't got to that bit yet.
Sorry.
We won't go into how.
No, I don't go into how.
No.
And this decision seemed to confuse and bewilder everyone, just deeming this choice as career suicide. No one could understand it.
And it's a huge show, especially
Yeah.
like at the point of when it came out.
That's the thing. And yes, there may have been violence in the show, but that's part of being an actor.
Yeah. And also look at who you're working with. Ron Perlman,
Yeah,
for Christ's sake.
exactly.
You know, and look how big Charlie Hunnam's got now.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the whole situation actually turned into a massive contradiction because he then, after that, so he left Sons of Anarchy, but then the roles he took after that show included playing a serial killer. So he never moved away from the violent roles. If anything, he played more violent roles.
That's very confusing.
So it's really odd. So,
Yeah.
you know, there was a lot of kind of like, what are you doing, mate? It doesn't really make any sense. You should have just stayed on Sons of Anarchy.
When did he play a serial killer? What was that for in?
I should have written it down. It was like a true crime. I don't think it was even a series. I think it was like an episode of true crime, like CSI or something like that, on Criminal Minds.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Criminal Minds. There we go. So on 30th of October 2011, Johnny was riding his motorcycle and he was involved in a high-speed accident and he was not wearing a helmet. Which, I mean, in of itself is bewildering and reckless, but especially considering the fact that he went through extensive motorcycle safety training for his role in Sons of Anarchy. So he knew all the dangers, but he still decided to go on. And it's not like one of those states where it's you don't have to wear one legally.
Yeah.
It is illegal in Los Angeles to not wear a helmet. So no sense in that whatsoever.
Very reckless behaviour.
Exactly. So Johnny survived the crash, but he suffered head injuries. And despite MRIs being scheduled for him, he didn't attend any. He actually refused to attend any of the sessions and have an MRI.
I am just, what?
Really,
What?
it's really bonkers. So there could have been significant brain trauma from the accident because it was a high-speed crash and he wasn't wearing any protection on his head.
And if there's damage, sometimes that can lead to this change in behaviour that then sends them off the rails, which I'm assuming by, you know, how this story's progressing is what's going to happen.
It's just, I can't believe I hadn't heard of this.
Yeah, no, me either, and because I love that show.
As soon as you mentioned Sons of Anarchy, I was like, oh no, she's going to know about this. And then as I said it, oh no, you don't know it.
No,
Brilliant.
no.
Because it is just, it's mind-bending. It's really strange. So a close friend of Johnny said that following the accident, this is a really weird quote, the way he's worded it, but this is a quote. So it was another person completely. He had a look I've only seen in disturbed veterans of war. His memory was scattered. He vacillated between basic lurid conversation and incoherence. So that was from one of his very close friends who spent a lot of time with him.
Oh.
And then the series of events which follows this accident show a sharp decline in Johnny's behaviour and an increase in bizarre and unprovoked violence towards completely innocent people.
Mm.
So in January 2012, he was found in a random house wearing pyjamas. He was asked to leave by the homeowners, but he refused. So he'd broken in there.
Oh, right. Okay. So he wasn't just staying there. It wasn't like a party or anything like that.
He just literally, there was no connection to the house. He just randomly found a house. I'm presuming he broke himself in. It didn't say any details, but he obviously got in there, refused to leave. This then led to an argument, and Johnny actually hit the two men in the head with a glass bottle. And despite the victims' attempts to fight back, Johnny didn't back off. He was eventually restrained by them, and he actually bit one of them during this process, and he was taken into custody by the police. When he was questioned, he told the police he had gone into the house to save a baby he'd heard crying, but there was no baby in the house.
It sounds like something significant has gone on up there after this accident.
Exactly. The other thing have I written it down in here? Yeah, I might actually mention this slightly later, but there's something else where it sort of might be connected as well. So no babe in the house. It seems like he's either lied about it or he's
Paranoid
had
or
a delusion.
schizophrenic.
Yeah, exactly. So he was charged with trespassing, burglary and assault with a deadly weapon, and he was sent to a jail in downtown LA. And whilst he was there, his behaviour just becomes increasingly strange. So whilst in cell, Johnny began to bang his head against the walls, really doing damage to himself. And he also tried to jump off the second story of the jail. He was in custody for 8 days before being bailed out by his father. I'm really surprised he was let out after that behaviour.
Yeah. Because that would be like, okay, we need to look into his, we need to like, I don't know, evaluate his psychological state,
exactly.
surely.
So he did go to live with his parents. And it was actually going back a bit, it was actually his dad who had scheduled and paid for his MRI scans after the accident, and Johnny had refused to go to them. His mum and dad recalled Johnny having an acute sensitivity to light while he was living with them. It gave him headaches, and he would basically just go around turning all the lights off and turning them off at the fuse box so no one could touch the lights. He couldn't bear it.
That possibly would have like driven him insane in prison as well, because that's that real bright artificial light.
Yeah, that could have had something to do with it. So about a month after this happened, on February the 10th, Johnny Lewis was in a yogurt shop in Santa Monica when he attacked a man who turned out to be an off-duty police officer.
Oh, shit.
And he was arrested again for assault, and the attack was completely unprovoked. He was talking to them, like, just chatting, and then he started to attack him. It's like something switch. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, as an outsider, I am an unqualified observer, but this man is unravelling.
Yeah, something's not right. Something's gone on that needs to be looked into.
Exactly.
We're not medical professionals, but damn, that is...
Pieces of the puzzle add up to the fact that he's suffered a brain injury and in the motorcycle crash, and really he needed some help.
And, if you think about it, some brain injuries are just... Some people are so affected. You can suffer a brain injury and wake up the next day and only speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And you've never learnt a word of Spanish in your life before.
And they don't know what happened to him because he would not go and have any tests done. So, I don't know. It's just, it's really sad. Because, as you're reading this story, it's actually quite quickly unravelling. It's,
it's a very short amount of time,
space of time,
And it's significant.
Yes.
It's not like little things. It's like, boom, now I'm just attacking people.
Exactly. So despite increasingly disturbing behaviour and now 2 documented unprovoked assaults, he was let out of jail on bail again following after he'd attacked a police officer.
Jesus.
So on February the 18th, 2012, just 8 days after the second violent incident, police were called to a residence where a lady reported Johnny Lewis was attempting to break into her house through a window. And when she asked him what he was doing, he said he was looking for his friend Bob. And he was arrested again. So, again, this is just... Possibly he was looking for his friend Bob.
Yeah.
But his friend Bob was not there. It was just a random lady's house.
Well, yeah. Like, what information did you receive to say Bob was there?
Exactly. So now I will mention at this time. So as I said, there were very conflicting reports about the fact whether he was or was not on drugs at this general time. If he was taking bath salts, which is the street name for them, that can
real screw you up,
cause violent outbursts, hallucinations, delusions, and a lot of things he's suffering. So there is that possibility if he was taking that, but we don't know because honestly, I've read so many articles and they were literally saying 2 completely different things.
And if he was taking them and he's got some sort of brain injury, together that's catastrophic.
Absolutely. So whatever the circumstances were at this particular time, I feel like he needed help.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's
clearly.
evident.
So following on from his latest arrest, his attorney actually negotiated a disposition for him to spend some time in a treatment centre where he would receive help for his mental health. And rather than spending time in prison, you know, he'd get assessed and hopefully, you know, get what he needs, get the help he needs, which seemed like the best option. And you know, as opposed to prison, that's quite a good,
you know, you got a chance of being
option.
properly rehabilitated.
Exactly. But he clearly needed help, and this would protect him, but it would also then protect these innocent people who he's lashing out at, because, you know, you don't know what's going to happen next. But Johnny didn't want to do this. Instead, he decided to go to trial. He fired his legal counsel and represented himself.
Oh, Christ on a cracker.
At this point, I don't know. I know that the rules and laws are very different in different states in America. But at this point, I think there should have been a medical intervention.
Yeah.
Where he possibly could have been sectioned.
Things he may not have had capacity to make these decisions.
Exactly.
Without the results of this MRI.
Yeah.
And the speculation of like the bar salts and stuff like that, he more so the medical thing. It doesn't sound like he had capacity to make these decisions, the right decisions for himself.
Doesn't seem like it, does it?
No.
It really doesn't seem like
there's
it.
not many people that would. There's not many people that would choose prison over.
Yeah.
Something more comfortable.
And, you know, the fact he'd already refused the MRIs and now he doesn't want this treatment. At this point, I just feel like, but again, I don't know the legal standpoint on this, but I would have thought it would be, you know, one of those things where you could intervene.
Yeah.
And that, like, you know, you get family and sort of friendship interventions all the time with people. And it seems like he's got all the ingredients of someone who's really unwell, really needs help, and should be sectioned to protect himself and others.
And it sounds like his dad's willing to bail him out, use that bail money to send him somewhere for help. Like, it could be completely different in America. We can obviously apply to have people sectioned.
Yeah.
If we feel like they're a danger to themselves and other people, and, you know, all the legislation and everything like that. So I wonder if it's different in America.
And the thing is, the states differ as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. It's but to me, someone should have stepped in, but obviously that's not, it's easier said than done. We don't know all the details. I only know the details I could research.
Yeah.
So this is just outsider's point of view. So he didn't want to go for treatment, so he went to trial. And on August the 8th, 2012, Johnny Lewis is sentenced to 3 years probation and ordered to pay £245 in restitution. But after 6 weeks in jail, he was released because of overcrowding. At this time, and I don't understand this, Johnny's father had arranged for him to move into the writer's villa, which I mentioned at the start, instead of moving back in with them. I don't know why this happened.
I mean, it's a known party place and stuff. You're going to get things going on that could trigger.
Well, it's really unclear why this was decided to be a good idea.
Maybe they didn't want to deal with him.
In which case, they should have sent him to a treatment centre.
Well, yeah, we know that.
Yeah. So, again, I believe he should have been assessed and given treatment for his spiralling behaviour rather than being immersed in this sort of non-conformist living situation. But that's not how the story goes. So there was a landlady of the writer's villa, and she was a really well-loved woman called Catherine Davis, and she was a patron for the arts. She was a real grandmotherly figure. She was really loved by, you know, all the neighbours and anyone who'd ever stayed there.
Why does my heart suddenly feel very heavy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was not informed of Johnny's recent behavioural problems or his run-ins with the law ahead of him going to stay there. So, yeah, I mean, you can kind of sort of see what's coming up. So on the 26th of September, just 5 days after Johnny had been released, a neighbour of the writer's villa recalls Johnny coming over to introduce himself to them, had his shirt off, and then he disappeared for around 30 to 40 minutes before coming back again. There was then an altercation between Johnny and the neighbours had like a handyman in to paint their house. And there was some altercation between Johnny and this handyman, and it turned into a big situation. It turned into a fight. So the neighbour is involved. The neighbour's wife is now involved, and there's the painter, 3 people all fighting Johnny Lewis. And the neighbour actually describes hitting Johnny several times to try and fend him off of them, to stop his outburst, but it did absolutely nothing. It's as if he felt no pain. And eventually the 3 managed to break away from Johnny, and they run into their house and sort of lock themselves in. He tries to break into the door, but then he can't, so he runs off. They call the police, and then Johnny disappears back over the fence into the writer's villa. This is another good time to mention that one of the things that happens when people, I'm not saying he was on bath salts, but it was thought that might have been
potential.
Yeah, because of his behaviour, because people who take that drug, they strip the clothes off, and he randomly had no shirt on, and they had no idea who it was. It's not like they knew him. And it's this just absolute rush of violence, and it's very hard to stop that violence once they're going.
Yeah, it's like a fixation.
It's like a superhuman energy they get for violence, basically, on these drugs. So it could have been that, it could have not been that, but it's always a possibility. So when officers arrive at the scene, they discovered the body of 28-year-old Johnny Lewis lying on the driveway of the villa. And Johnny had obvious signs of head trauma, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. And it appeared as though he had fallen or jumped from either the window or the balcony of the property, because the villa is actually on a slope.
Okay.
So from the area they're thinking he's fallen or jumped from down to the driveway is quite a fall, because it kind of slopes down.
Yeah, okay.
So there is a significant distance there. Then police went into the villa, where they found a horrific scene. I do have to put a trigger warning here, especially there's a death of an animal. I refuse to go into details.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't do that. But trigger warning. So they went into the house after they'd seen his body laying on the driveway, and they discovered ransacked furniture, broken glass, and in Johnny's room, they discover a rusty hammer covered in blood. In the bathroom, they found the landlady's cat. He'd killed her cat. And then across the hall, in the master bedroom, they found 81-year-old Catherine Davis murdered. She'd been strangled and received blunt force trauma to her head. From what officers could surmise, this horrific crime scene had occurred between Johnny introducing himself to the neighbour, then returning to attack the neighbours. So in the time he said hi, then went off back into the villa. They think this is when he committed the murder, then came back and started attacking them. This is how the timeline seems to have gone.
It sounds like there is some sort of what's the word?
I mean, it does sound like it's sort of like a psychotic episode that's been like the violence has been building and building and building to this point.
Exactly. And, it sounds like probably there's a mix of some sort of narcotic and potentially this brain injury.
Brain injury, exactly.
Like you say, because it's like you say, it's superhuman rage, and, having witnessed narcotic rages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or rages brought on by narcotics and things. It's
it's just like I said, it's such a shocking story, and so they reckon that's when this happened. And basically, when the neighbours then phoned the police and he ran back to the villa, that's when they think he either fell or jumped from the window, the roof or balcony. It wasn't quite clear, to his death on the driveway. And it was just described as a grotesque murder, possibly murder-suicide, with absolutely no motive, none whatsoever. The death of Catherine was described as a tremendous loss for the art community. Catherine was fondly remembered as an absolute sweetheart, and there was disbelief surrounded the whole situation, and there are still so many unanswered questions.
And you're not going to get those answers either.
No. It's honestly, when I watch this, I definitely recommend watching the documentary. There is a lot of information missing, but I understand that they can only
What's it called?
So it's Death by Fame,
Yeah.
and it's one of those episodes. And then obviously I went on to read articles and things like that, and there's more talk of the drugs and stuff, so they don't feature everything in that, but it is a good summary of the story, and it just kind of really kind of brings home the tragedy of it. And initially, the police actually did blame the whole thing on drug misuse on the part of Johnny Lewis, because this was the only sense they could make out of it. Like, the authorities just thought, well, surely it can only be drugs.
I mean, I know that you say that it's not picked up by like a drugs test or things like that, but I'm wondering if any other sort of toxicology test could have proven it. Because he would have had a post-mortem.
Yeah, 8 weeks later, the results of Johnny's autopsy came out, and the coroner reported the cause of death as blunt force trauma. So his death was deemed as accidental or suicidal, and no drugs or alcohol were found in his system. Not a trace, according to the reports that I read.
Yeah, so from what I remember, working in a mortuary, like, there's standard drugs tests that are done. And I think then, I could be completely wrong, it's been a while. I think then you can like request other.
He had an extensive.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Done. Yeah, because that's what they thought. That was their first thing. Yeah, it must have been on drugs. But like, without knowing the exact head injuries that Johnny suffered directly from the motorcycle accident, it's only really possible for us to guess the effects. And then therapists commented that traumatic brain injury could have led to his excessive violence and even caused hallucinations and delusions, which would make sense looking at the path of destruction that followed the crash. But then also, those are side effects of the drug that he was reportedly taking. So,
chicken or the egg?
I mean, it's just absolutely, it's just so sad.
This is
so
bizarre.
Disturbing.
It is bananas.
I just feel like there was quite a few chances for intervention.
And they were all ignored. Not even just missed, they were just ignored.
Yeah, I just think, he was showing signs of a troubled man.
Yeah.
And he was arrested, 3-4 times? And, he was I don't understand why he was let to move into that villa. It did the whole thing. I mean, we're never going to know the full story, but from what I've read, from what I'm sharing with you, it makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't. Like, from our position, it would be obvious what needed to happen.
Yeah. So Johnny Angel Wendell, a neighbour of the writer's villa, is quoted as saying, "At no point was there a major enough intervention in this kid's life where someone could have said something is wrong with him." And that is the tragic tale of Johnny Lewis, and of course the innocent victims in this, Catherine Davis and her little cat.
How old was he?
28 when he died.
Yeah. Oh,
he started acting quite young. He had such a promising career, and it's just I still am so surprised that I didn't know about this.
Yeah, I'm
especially Sons of Anarchy, because it's okay. I haven't watched it, but it's such a prominent, famous series.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just something that I hadn't, and I randomly just decided, I'm going to watch this. So I decided then to do this episode on that, because I just thought it was so bizarre and just so shocking.
I mean, I am shooketh.
It is a shooketh one, isn't it?
It is a shooketh one,
and it's just equal parts sad, tragic, shocking,
and bizarre,
horrific, bizarre. It is just a really strange tale.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I don't.
So sorry about that, but we are cars of the
I don't know how I'm gonna like continue. I mean, I'm watching it obviously for a second time, Mark's first time, but I'm just gonna look at him so differently now. Like, the entire time I'm watching it, up until he's written out, I'm just gonna be like, he killed someone. He killed someone. He killed someone. Yeah. It's like watching something when someone really well known has like died. You're like, they're dead now.
I know. Well, I can't.
And he's dead now, but
yeah.
Oh, it's just like, oh,
yeah.
Holy fuck balls.
I know, right?
Huh. Well,
so,
that
again,
was swell, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Sorry to bring down the atmosphere, tone, and or general life,
Well-being.
well-being, life, everything. But yeah, I just thought it was a good one to share, just for the fact that there was a lot of chance.
I wonder if it's not actually that well known then.
Well, the fact that neither of us knew about it, I'm presuming Goobs hadn't known about it. He didn't know about it. So, you know, like I've literally just watched the documentary and done all the research. So I haven't been able to talk to many people say, have you heard about this? And I just presumed as soon as you said you'd been watching Sons of Anarchy yesterday, I was like, oh, she's going to know this.
Yeah, no, okay.
And then I was actually surprised you didn't.
Yeah. That's the thing. I kind of recognised the name Johnny Lewis and I was like, who the fuck is that? I know he's an actor.
And obviously you and me used to watch The OC, so we would have seen him in that. I don't remember him in that, but we would have seen him in that.
Never remember him dating Katy Perry, but I've never had like a personal interest in her dating life. So
it was very early on in both their careers.
Right.
Okay. It lasted for under a year, and sort of other people say they bonded over the fact that his parents were so religious, and her father was
he's a pastor, isn't he?
Pastor, yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things they had in common, and that's sort of the friendship grew from there.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, that's a very, very tragic story.
I just didn't expect that one today.
I know.
Thanks.
That's all right. I think the moral of the story is wear a bloody helmet on a motorcycle.
Don't do drugs.
Do not do any kind of drugs. And if you hit your head, just go and get a scan.
Yeah, and if you are a family member of the person who's been injured or a friend, ensure they get some sort of medical intervention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... All right, well, should we go on to random facts after that?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to go first?
Go on then. So my random fact is very vapid, like all my other ones, but I don't care. It's really cool. So I went to Chateau Marmont a few times actually in LA, which if you don't know it, it's a very famous hotel in Hollywood. It's just off Sunset. And there's been famous photo shoots there. There's been films made there. Johnny Depp and Kate Moss used to party there. It is just one of the party hotels. And
Isn't it supposed to be haunted?
It is supposed to be haunted, yeah. It's incredible. And I wasn't staying there. I would have loved to have, but I couldn't afford to.
Can you imagine?
I know.
Look at that.
But friends of ours were, and I was having breakfast with Diane in the morning, and so that was out on the terrace. So it's very hard to get a table out on the terrace. You have to know someone who stays there all the time and
tip very well.
Exactly. So we were out on the terrace and I was having breakfast and Pharrell Williams walked past the table.
That's pretty cool.
And I was just like, he's so beautiful in real life.
That man is a vampire. He does not age.
He does not age. And I love NERD. And I just think he's so cool. And I was just like, oh my God. It was just amazing. And I'll add on to this, another vapid fact from me. Billie Eilish was there one time.
Oh, cool.
But at the time, I didn't know who she was.
I know.
And actually after that, I then became a massive fan of her work. I just hadn't heard of her. And she was sitting in the middle of the terrace with her brother. Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so,
I like that. But yeah, NERD, very cool. I still love the song Rockstar.
Yes, and obviously
so good.
He's worked with Gwen before, and we love
Gwen.
So, what's your random fact, darling?
It's definitely a random fact, and again, it's not interesting or anything like that. But I have
Don't say that. I'm interested.
Okay. You know one of them. I think you know both. So I have two party tricks that I pull out when I've had a few. So now that I no longer drink, I think these party tricks have been retired.
Oh.
So one, I can do the worm.
I've seen this.
Move. You have seen, you've witnessed this. The other one is that I can fit my fist in my mouth.
Oh. Okay. Oh my God.
I'm not going to demonstrate.
Which one of the characters on Mean Girls can do?
Yeah, Karen.
Yeah, Karen. Brilliant.
I cannot tell the weather with my boobs though, because one, I have no boobs to be able to tell the weather with.
Well, I mean, that's a lie. And we have a random fact from Goobs. Do you want to read this?
Yeah. Goober, and I'm witness to this, is absolutely fucking terrified of polystyrene.
Yeah, I actually witnessed this yesterday. I had no idea, but I completely get it.
It's horrible.
It's awful stuff.
It's that squeakiness and the sponginess.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have quite a enough now.
Sorry, mate.
I'm making it feel a bit.
Sorry, he's going to start gagging in a minute.
I really dislike polystyrene, and that only comes from. So I didn't, and then when I was working for the prison service, I don't know if I've told this story before. I was asked by one of the officers to her husband's birthday was Friday the 13th in December.
Amazing.
And he was having a horror themed birthday party. So she asked me to do like some prop heads, like make them up like horror characters. So I did them out of polystyrene. One was a clown, for which reason I do not know why I did that. Because obviously my fear, it stayed down in the kitchen. It wasn't in the same room. Another one was where like the mouth was closed, was sewn up, and the eyes were gouged out. And the other one was a zombie. And digging out, because I was like literally like making them into like a proper like bone structure and things like that. Well, not too much, because it was just like a cheapy thing that I was doing. But yeah, digging out all of the polystyrene for like the eye holes and everything.
Ugh.
And after that, I was like, I can't ever.
I'd have had to wear headphones so I couldn't hear it.
It was disgusting. It was filthy, and
I feel the same way about lolly sticks.
I can't. The wooden ones,
Wooden lolly sticks
on your teeth.
Yeah,
That makes me want to gag. Oh no, it's just on my teeth. It's like.
I'll show you when I next have an ice lolly with you. I'll show you how I managed to unwrap an ice lolly and not touch the stick.
Well done, you.
Yeah, I've got a whole thing worked out.
Yeah.
All right, well, they're quite good. Very random selection of random facts. Well done, guys.
Yeah.
Well, we would like to say thank you for everyone who's tuned in, and make sure you like, subscribe, download the apps, because we didn't realise until we started doing this, if you don't download the apps, we don't get the numbers.
Yeah, it's not on plays.
No.
It's on downloads.
So, and we'd really like to keep doing this. So if you can do that, that'd be awesome. Make sure you spread the word.
Yeah, check us out on Instagram at Cars of the Macabre. Check us out on just that. But you can email us, particularly if you have any personal spooky stories, anything like that, at carsofthemacabre@gmail.com. Yep. Share the love.
Share the love. We'd like to
rate us as well.
Oh yeah, rate us as well. You can write comments. We probably won't do anything with them, but if you want to, it'd be nice if they're good comments. Yeah. Positivity is obviously well received. And as always, massive thank you to Park Lane Studios, Goober,
Sound extraordinaire,
for making us sound a lot more professional than we really are.
Than the content.
Exactly.
People laugh at that. The content may not be professional, but the sound is. And that's going to be his tagline for the business.
Love it. Another t-shirt slogan.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we'd also like to say thank you to Daryl for editing the video and making sure that it's seamless.
Yeah, which I predict it will be.
Yeah.
Thanks, Daryl, very much.
We're in the editing again at the time of recording. The videos are going into editing and things like that. So,
when this comes out, there'll be a few on YouTube.
Mark would just like to add, it won't be seamless. He is rubbish.
But it's nice to have anyway. So there we go.
He's joking. To D-man. Yeah. Again, that's from Mark. That's an inside joke, I think. I'm going off piece now. Top man, yeah? Top man.
Thank you again. Thank you guys, for listening to my spooky tale.
Thank you for the story. You've well and truly hit me in the face.
Yeah, disturbed you.
Thank you.
That's exactly my aim.
Well, until next time, stay spooky, bitches.